Well, I haven't done any mixed media for a really long time, but it's amazing how many pieces of paper I've managed to squirrel away during that time. Quite amazing, really. I'm going to get a few bits and pieces onto my page. I like these, really like these textured pieces that were just an old book page and I put through a texturing machine. I can't remember what they're called, but I'm pretty sure you know what I mean. And have been doing a bit of dressmaking, a very small amount. I quite like the look of this little page as well. Right, so let's go. Paintbrush, matte gel, and we're off. Love the smell of it. Forget where I thought that was going to go now. Maybe I'll stick it down here. Quite like these kind of neutrally kind of colour papers. Put you across there. Give you a little bit of a smooch up. Give you a little bit of texture. I can see why people have giant pots of this matte gel. You can use masses of it, especially when you're gluing bits of paper. It's quite a funny thing, isn't it, gluing bits of paper down? It's like a little kid's dream. I don't want there, that's because I like to draw there. You can go on there. Oops. I've got a bit of that, you can go in there. I'm not sure whether this might not be too abandoned, but we'll give it a go. That's a bit of one of those baby wipes that you use to kind of clean yourself up after you've done your painting. They're quite good, but my gosh, I didn't realise how very firm they are. People might just give up on these just about. I don't know. We can get another one in. Gives a nice little furry edge. I don't think I want quite as much texture as you. Smooth you out a bit. And give you a little bit of nice words on it. The massive sun we lifted, trailing purple, trailing gold, out between the passes of the mountains manifold, to anthem slowly sung. Gosh, that sounds like a book I should be reading rather than chopping up. Here we go. I am going to leave that now to dry because I am quite a patient person and I do like things to dry naturally. Oops, he was like, was going to put this little bit of kind of washi tape kind of stuff there. You can go on there. We'll see how that works out. I'll leave that to dry for a little while. Well, it took a bit longer than I thought to dry, so I did go and find an old hairdryer somewhere, which was a lot more difficult than I thought, I must say. And I am just going to kind of blend these in a little bit so they don't look quite so much like a child's scrapbook. Or maybe they do, I don't know. My gesso seems to be very have quite a lot of coverage compared to the gesso that I see other people using. So I'm not quite sure what that's about. Maybe mine's just dried out from lack of use. Anyway, that's how it's going to go. So that's a little bit of kind of smoothing out. I should have put something down there. Maybe I will. Maybe I will just put a little bit of something down there. I have to do that finger thing. Yeah, that's better. That should stay down okay. And I suppose by the time I put some other colours on that later on, I'm going to put my girl's face here. And I sort of don't really want those edges being quite as pronounced as they are. But I suppose they are what they are. Yeah, so I'm going to put her face in here. Perhaps I might do that now. Could I be bold enough to do that? Maybe just put a few sort of splatters of colour, let some textures come through. And I'm going to use this colour, which is from the, gosh, $2 shop probably. Ooh, unused. No, it's not unused at all. Don't be silly. So I just put a wee splot there and swoosh that around into a kind of a face shape, I'm hoping. I think that should be kind of a face shape. And see how that goes once it's dried. And here we go. Let's try. Oh, that does draw quite well on that, doesn't it? It's still a wee bit wet, but that's okay. I can't even imagine what this is going to come out like. That feels a bit kind of splodgy. I might have to just dry that off a little bit more. I think it's really not going to work terribly well while it's all still mucky. So I will come back and try. I usually put my mouth, well I started, I don't usually, but I've started putting my mouth in before I do that, before I put the nose in, because I don't really like, in my drawings, I don't really like that mouth down on the chin kind of look, so I am going to just be putting my mouths in first, and then just put the nose kind of in between the eyes and the mouth. I think that's a way that suits me a little bit more. This is a 6B pencil, is it? 4B pencil, which I'm using because it's just a little bit darker. It gives just a little bit more. What are we going to do with this lady's hair? I might give her some ears in case I want her hair to be out of the way. It's kind of what we always do, isn't it? But that's all right. I've got no idea what I'm doing here. Got a few locks flowing out anyway. See how that works. I think I might get some colour to put on her hair. I think that will be a better idea. And I also want to put some a little set of flowers around her hair, as we like to do that, don't we? We like our girls to have little flowers in their hair. Okay, I'm going to sort out some new colours. So I've sorted a bunch of colours. I've got a raw umber, which is Liquitex. There must have been a sale happening then. And burnt sienna, same again. Raw sienna. Oh, I see there's burnt sienna and raw sienna. That's good to know. Yellow ochre. And I really wanted a colour that was the same as, kind of a little bit like this green here, but I haven't got that, so I'm going to maybe use this one, which is called Viridian. And now I've got all these colours out and I'm somewhat terrified. Gosh, all of a sudden it's become very serious. I just put tiny dots of colour out and it doesn't feel quite so daunting, I think. This could be a huge mess. And I think I'll put a big lot of white. White's kind of a good thing to have, isn't it? Right, let's go. Let's go. Let's see what happens. Brushes at the ready. Right. It smooshes in quite nicely. I do like that when that happens. Didn't really know it was going to do that. My plan is, if I have a plan, to kind of go darker and darker and darker around the edges. That's the idea. And then I'm going to use that to kind of shade around these eyes as well. I think this brush is a little bit too big for dainty work. I might have to get a smaller one. Now I was going to put her here in these kind of colours. The idea is to kind of let the texture do what it will. That's the kind of the point of putting texture on there, isn't it? Let it do its thing. And let the hair kind of fade out. balancing colours in here. Catching that texture just to show it up a little bit. And always quite like a bit of yellow on a face. It just sort of, I don't know, it gives it a bit of a sunny kind of a look, I think, which I like. And I'm going to come in around here a little bit more definition. Don't even know if you can see that. That's her ear there, in case you're wondering what I'm fiddling about with. I just wanted to make the line of her face and go a little bit more tidily up there, so she didn't look as if she had a big fat round face. I'm going to finish her eyes in more of a, I think in pen actually. I think I'm going to finish it in pen because I'm a little bit terrified of using these brushes in this paint to try and do those tiny little fine lines. Eyes are so important, and if you get them wrong, it doesn't really give it a very good look. Quite liking the look of that. I just need to have something down here, don't I? Just to show that she's wearing something. This is my first painting in acrylics, and I'm quite enjoying it. Quite enjoying it. I like to be careful that I don't get this part of the nose too wide in comparison with this part down here. I think you've got to be a little bit careful about keeping the nose so that it doesn't look like a cat's nose, unless that's the look that you're going for, of course, but which is, I guess, what I'm saying. I'm not going for that look. So is this the point where you stop before you actually make a great big mess? I think I am going to stop, and I'm going to come back when this is properly dry and detail those eyes and any other little bits of detail that I think would be an enhancement. Okay, I think this is dry enough now. I'm going to start on with these little eyes and see if I can get some good detail into them. I'm going to try not to put my head right in the way of the camera, but it might happen that I do. This is my favourite 0.2 fine liner. I don't know that it matters what brand it is. I'm sure some brands are much better than others, particularly when you're trying to do them on top of a fairly thick textured kind of a painty surface. For example, I'm not sure that this is quite going to manage this, but anyway, I just use whatever I have. Should probably be using something a little bit more like a Sharpie for something of this size, I think. Would probably be better. And probably give me a better depth of black. I can feel this is still a little bit wet, and I can feel my naughty little cat scrabbling up the chair at the back of me. and over my shoulder, and going to walk down onto my painting. There, plop on the floor. I hope that was okay. Yes, I might be just ruining this pen. It might be just a little bit too wet. And I'm going to use a little bit of graphite, meaning just plain pencil, just to give that little sort of roundy, eyeball-y shape to this. And I think I am going to look for a blacker. I'll try this one. This has got a little brush tip at the end. I think it might be better for what I'm trying to do. And it is. I quite like the way that's sort of a little bit understated, the mouth. I'm just going to leave it like that. And I also quite like the way the nose has turned out, surprisingly. Now I'm going to do some lashes. It's not going to work very well for the lashes, so I'll go back to, let's go back to a thicker one. Let's go to a 0.3 and see if that's going to work a little bit better. I'm just going to come in here again. I just want to try and shadow that a little bit. Just give a little sense of shadow there. Also around here. Nothing like graphite really, just to give a little feel of shadow here and there. And then I am going to do the part that we all love to do. Let's put the lights in. And I'm not even going to attempt to do anything much with those flowers yet because I can see that they are still wet. But I'm kind of happy with her little, face. Yes, poor little pen, not quite up to it. Okay, I'll leave that and let it dry a little bit more. I am quite happy with her little face now, but I feel as if this page has become a little bit of a dog's breakfast really. So I'm going to try and make her hair feature quite a bit more in this part, and what I'm going to use is one of these Aquarelle Stabilo All pencils, which people seem to really enjoy using. So I'm going to have a go with that and see if I can lift the hair out of the, I guess, the sort of general mishmash that's there already. So let's see how this works. And we'll just see how this works when we... I should have really been doing this with something that's going to seal it a little bit better, I think. Never mind, I've started down the water trail at the moment. I don't know what you think, but I feel as though that's made it a little bit more... it's given this page a little bit more connection with this page. That's what I think anyway. I'm going to try... oh, I haven't got the fluidy kind of matte gel, so I'm just going to have to try and do it a little bit with this and see what happens. Gosh, it does go. It's amazing how black it goes, isn't it? Quite amazing. Yeah. I think I am going to put a little bit more around here. I suppose this just dries like watercolour paint. I suppose that's how it works. I kind of like the way it goes a bit smudgy around the edges. It's quite good. And I think it needs the obligatory stamp. I'm going to find a stamp or two. So after half an hour of finding the right stamps, here we go. There we go. What do you think?